Welcome. You have successfully clicked on a video featuring two men discussing Barbie. Good for you. This is a big step in your life.
What are you doing here?
I'm coming with you.
We saw Barbie and we liked it.
That's impossible.
I like this movie quite a bit. I think I will like it more or less with time. There's a couple of things in it I find a little frustrating, but the stuff that I love in it, I really love. The strengths, I think, outweigh the weaknesses.
Yeah, I think it's a solid movie. I wasn't super high on it like a lot of people are when I
Mhm.
came out of it, but only because I had just seen Oppenheimer and I just felt like absolute death.
Do you guys ever think about dying?
But then I saw this movie thinking, oh, this is going to be a light fun. I'm not going to have to think at all. And then it's like, nope, you might honestly have to think more during this movie than in Oppenheimer. And I was like,
So strange.
holy shit.
That's a lot of brain power.
And don't get me wrong, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe it seems like it tries to apologize for being a Barbie movie, but I get that that's a part of it. Sometimes it has to acknowledge the different perspective on it, but that's also part of what Barbie is about, what part of what Barbie represents. And I would know because I had absolutely nothing to do with Barbie. I was mostly interested in this movie because it is a Greta Gerwig film, and she's actually very good at making movies. Don't know if you've heard about this. So yeah, I was looking forward to this. I got into it thinking it's just gonna be some silly thing, and no.
So cool.
You literally leave the theater feeling existential dread to a degree, but also when I thought about it more, I had only thought that because I saw Oppenheimer before, but it's really got a way more positive spin on stuff than I realized. But there's a certain headspace you can get in after seeing Oppenheimer with the whole Barbenheimer craze that really affected my viewing experience clearly. So I bumped my rating up after seeing it. I had just a 7 out of 10. I bumped it to 8 out of 10.
Good.
Not that that matters.
I did not have the Barbenheimer experience. I saw them 2 separate days because I'm a normal person.
Let me tell you, it was wonderful.
The best day ever. So is yesterday, and so is tomorrow, and every day from now until forever.
Yes, it sounds like
It was, honestly.
watching both of the and the popcorn you consume.
Yeah, the various large popcorns and sodas should lay off of such things.
I couldn't picture myself doing that. When I heard Greta Gerwig was doing a Barbie movie, my first thought was, I really wish she would just do her own material. But then I thought, Little Women really worked. So maybe. She wouldn't be making this movie if she didn't have something she wanted to do with it. This is her working with her biggest budget. I think she uses it splendidly. The production values of this thing are unbelievable. Like the colors are splashing off the screen and the production design looks like Barbie play sets. It is exactly what you sign up for. Looks better than a lot of movies. You can tell that the effort and the money and the time was actually put into making this thing look good.
Yeah, which was really refreshing in today's day and age where you could say, oh, that's a green screen, that's a green screen. And I'm not saying there's no green screen in this movie, but anyway, they use some very practical old school techniques and they do it fantastically. And it just looks really, really good in the Barbie world. And I feel like that'll help it hold up over a test of time.
The thing that I really enjoyed most about this movie is the actor's commitment. My favorite Margot Robbie performance was in last year's Babylon, but like this one, it's definitely in the running.
I think Margot Robbie does something that I really don't think anybody could do. Honestly, she looks like Barbie and she embodies the whole like physical acting of acting like a doll while also giving the character charm that's not ditzy or, hey, I'm a stupid doll that doesn't know how the real world works. She's like a carved out person who's like confident in herself, but she starts to lose a little bit of that confidence because her world gets impacted where she's like, you know, what is death? You know, that kind of stuff that the world kind of impacts on her, and she's just off to learn stuff while also clearly still being a very smart individual.
I would not be surprised if she got a Best Actress nomination for playing a Barbie doll.
And Ryan Gosling is, I think, by far the funniest part of the movie while also being a really well-established character.
It's just nice to see him have fun. He's having the time of his life and he's just so committed to the role.
Did you bring your rollerblades?
I literally go nowhere without them.
Some people seem to think they just only portray him as an asshole, which it has its moments where he's being an asshole, so he seems like he's an asshole. But I do think they handled that with a real sympathy where you can kind of see it through everybody's perspectives, and it's just like the end of the day, we're all trying to get through this crazy world alive, and this is how certain things in society affect everybody.
I found this movie really funny at times. It's so much fun, but the reason why Greta Gerwig made it, is because she does have something to say. And I found this movie very ambitious because she's making a movie about a toy that is making fun of the toy and celebrating the toy while also discussing life and being a human and a woman and a man. And it's just like this rich text. It's crazy.
Like, it discusses all those things, but at the end of the day, it's mostly just about, what it is to be a person. Just being yourself, being a person existing in this world today where everybody's so hyper engaged, where anything you do can be perceived as wrong. Life is hard sometimes, but like at the end of the day, it's a good time, I think. And I think this movie kind of does a good job of that. I feel like personally, after thinking about it, after not being bogged down by, oh my gosh, we're gonna kill everyone with this bomb, it kind of allowed me to just be like, hey, that's the doll movie with the pink stuff in it. Cool.
So after doing both of them, would you recommend switching the orders?
100%. Like, I thought people were absolute morons when they were suggesting to go see Barbie first. I was like, you're stupid. No, I would highly recommend you go see Barbie first, then do the Oppenheimer thing. And I feel like you will have a better time, but it's also kind of hard not to have a good time going to the theater and seeing both these movies.
Seeing two big budget summer movies that are this thoughtful, this well made, it's great. I love to see it, and I'm glad that people showed up. This could have just been a movie about the toy.
And that would have been fine, more than likely.
It could have been fun.
Especially if it had talented people like this behind it. They could have just made a fun movie and it'd still been fun. But yeah, there was a lot going on here.
The problem I got with Barbie, I have no problem with what the movie is saying. There's times in the movie it's able to juggle the fun and the ideas. And then there's times where the movie comes to a halt for the ideas and the fun kind of takes a back seat. It, to me, slows down the momentum of what is otherwise this bubblegum romp. As I was watching the movie, I was like, I can't believe she got away with this. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just a movie that cost this much and she is discussing the stuff that she is discussing in it. It's a Barbie movie with ideas that are this huge, and she made it this way. I think that's just kind of remarkable.
I just think it's just weird because you're juggling all this important stuff that's being said with, oh, yeah, a toy company made this, and why are we at Mattel, and what are we saying? It's like they're trying to knock Mattel, but also it's like Mattel made this movie, so it's like, I don't think they're really knocking it because this is a Mattel movie.
I'm actually not sure.
But it's just a weird part in the movie. And the only other thing that I would say in terms of criticism is they bring up a lot of things and really interesting perspectives on different characters and different ways they view life and how life affects them and how other people see them and how that makes them think of themselves. They don't necessarily have a full concrete solution. Maybe that's dumb because there's never been a full concrete solution for any of that. So it's totally fair that they don't have any of it in the movies because they're saying a lot of true things and a lot of things that maybe are sometimes too true to where you're like, did I do that one time in my life? Or, just think about how other people view you in general or how you view yourself through other people seeing you and everything.
I also like Michael Cera a lot. Alan, who is a discontinued toy that just, he hangs around the Kens and he just kind of, stands there awkwardly like Michael Cera does. I really related.
The other element of this movie is at the end where they kind of get into this whole heavy idea of product legacy versus human legacy and just how time works.
Humans only have one ending. Ideas live forever.
I went back and hit my Oppenheimer switch and I was like 2 times. One theater. This car ride home is going to be enjoyable. Catastrophic! I went by myself because I'm a loser.
Oh, what a loser!
Then the other thing I'm kind of seeing is that it's just mostly men bashing. On the surface level, you could take it that way, but there's definitely a lot deeper stuff going on. Even if you just take it on I'm strictly looking at surface level, they don't necessarily portray the Barbie world as operating 1,000% correctly. It's just operates 1,000% correctly
Mhm.
for the Barbies in the world, because it's a world run by Barbies, and that's basically the point that they're making in this movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Ken stuff at the beginning of the movie is depressing, and it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be like, this guy, all he does is care about how he views himself through this other person, being Barbie, and all he does is just sit around and wait and like, oh, hopefully Barbie's free later, instead of living his life. And which he grows to learn towards the end of the movie, that's a good idea to do that. You're enough. This movie is not just for women, it's also for guys and just people in the world. I get that everybody has strong feelings about stuff these days in general, but I just feel like if you gave it a chance and just sat there and really took in what the movie was saying and just, thought about it, because it is a rich text, and it doesn't mean you have to agree with everything in the movie, because I don't agree with everything in the movie, but overall message is a really good message. Basically, at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of work to be done by everyone, because, we all have to exist in this world as who we are. And that's hard sometimes, but it's worth it in the end, kind of a thing.
There's a couple of times where America Ferrera is talking. I was sitting there, I was listening to it, I was like, God, she's right.
Yeah.
It's like she's right. And that's the thing, like, this is a movie, it's got a lot to say. I think it does a good job saying it, honestly.
Yeah. And like that speech in particular, like obviously it's going to mean more for women because it's referring to women the whole speech, but that speech is about just everybody in general and how people perceive you. Like,
it's true.
You can read deeper than what it's saying.
If this got out, this could mean extremely weird things for our world.
Our rating for Barbie is an 8 out of 10, which everyone cares about because we are two people.
But I'm a man.
I think this movie is good. I think it's at times great. I'm glad this movie is the hit that it is, because on paper it sounds like an insane pitch, but I'm glad she made it this way.
If you had a chance to check out Barbie, let us know what you thought. If you enjoyed this discussion from two people on Barbie, then like the video or subscribe.
Can I need a clicky pen?
No.
A sharp thing.